Almost. What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 249 of Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, brought to you by Solozo. And today, super excited. You know how much I love online arbitrage, reselling. You know how much we talk about if you're trying to get into the private label business, but you don't have the capital. This is a great way to get started. It can also turn into a full-time business. We're going to talk about that in a second with our guests, but this is going to be part of our Amazon seller journey series that we do. And this is going to be, I'm really excited about this story, learn about his journey, how he started selling on Amazon, why he got into it, what his future plans are. We're going to cover all of that. And we're going to go through some tactics for reselling and online arbitrage as well. So there'll be a lot in here. But joining us today is Cody McCarson, coming to us from just outside of Atlanta. What's up, Cody? How are you?
Good morning, man. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I mean, these are some of my favorite conversations, is just learning somebody's journey and story. I mean, I feel like you can have all this, laid out tactics and strategies and everything, and that's great, but the stories are so much more engaging, and there's so much I feel like for anybody listening, it's empowering. You'll learn the ups and the downs and what somebody did and how somebody had to pivot and where they were in their life when they decided to do this. I feel like these are really great stories. So I'm really excited to hear about yours. I've got a little idea about where we're going to go with this, but I want to really turn it over to you right now. Why don't you give us your background, how you got into this space, what you were doing before, and how it's going for you right now?
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up in foster care, and kind of talking about some of the, telling the story. One of the main reasons I started putting out content is I know people who came from where I came from, and they're selling drugs, or they're, in jail, or doing some other, terrible, path with their life. And so, telling them, hey, you don't have to do something illegal. Like, there's this really cool way you can do all this legally and make money. And, it's a lot cooler that way. And so, that's, part of my mission is, if I can reach Brandon, a guy that I knew way back when, that is now, kind of in a rough spot in life, and show him how he can start with zero and really like build his own business and have the side hustle, and then eventually, turn it into a big thing. That's exciting for me. So, thank you again for having me on. So my name is Cody, does Amazon. My wife and I run, we did 1.2 million or something on Amazon only last year. And then this year we'll see where it ends up. And then we do some on some other platforms. We enjoy. I still I love the treasure hunt at heart. So we do some eBay, and if I get half a chance to go to a yard sale, I'll do that in a heartbeat. We have 5 kids going on 6, so we've got an entire house full of free labor and tax write-offs. So they're homeschooled, and so I mostly work at home. And so that's kind of our life is kind of a little TV show here. So
Yeah.
We've been on Amazon since 2018, 2019, something like that. I don't know if you've heard of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I started 2017 Flip Challenge. I started selling weight equipment out of my garage, and then it turned into flipping return pallets from like places like Amazon, Walmart. When they have returns, we would buy those and flip those back on eBay. And then slowly started to realize some of that stuff's selling for way more on Amazon for whatever reason. And then, completely against terms of service, some of the stuff we were selling. So I'm glad we didn't get, capped then. But that grew into discovering books, which we discovered Amazon FBA. And so now we do a little bit of everything. Right now we're spending a lot of money on new shoes. Back to school is, I got to shout out to Heat Seekers. They're a group I'm a part of. You can spend so much money on just the shoe model. And so that's been our focus for a minute. And then, about to get into Q4 arbitrage stuff. So chasing down, crap that people want for Halloween and Christmas. So
I love it. I love, it's funny because I follow Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, he's so interesting. I mean, the content king for sure. I don't
Oh
know
yeah.
how that guy makes that much content all the time. But what's fascinating about him is, he's very successful. He's huge. He's
Hmm.
got multiple businesses, um, but he loves the flip game, and he's inspired a lot of people like you
Oh
to
yeah.
really get out there, go to garage sales, go to local stores. I mean, the amount of money you can make is crazy. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you're talking about people that live their lives every day, 9 to 5, making a set salary, working the majority of their lives, and the opportunity to spend a couple hours a day, and you can do it with your family. Like you said, you've got 5 kids, six. What was it? 5 kids, six,
5 kids, one on the way. We just
one
recently
on the way.
announced
Oh, you're busy. Uh,
it.
the you know to bring them up in that environment, to give them the knowledge and the courage to go out on their own when they grow up, and like you said, you're now able to support, to live the life that you want to live with your family. And I just can't say it enough. It's available for anybody. You could have
100%.
$50 and
Yep.
absolutely get started in this business,
Yep.
which is different than private label. That's, I mean, I sort of cut my teeth getting into the private label business back in the day. It was a little easier then to do launches and stuff like that, and it's still a
Sure.
great business. I mean, it's one of the best business models for sure. Still roll with that, but I went backwards. I started with private label, and now I'm really excited about arbitrage. I've been doing it for about 6 months now.
Really? That's so
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it's and I'm doing that as it's why not? I've got 2 kids myself. They're a part of my labor force, like you said. They do all the labeling and all that kind of stuff, and help me source products. But what's fascinating is the amount of opportunity there is, like tens of millions of products. I mean, it's endless.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know you see that it's once you start doing it, it is addictive.
Yeah, there's a ton of like, people don't realize how many ASINs are sitting on Amazon that you get the little dog, when you click on and it says error page because there's no sellers. There's a shortage of Amazon sellers, and if you could just go and source that product, then you can almost name your price. And, pe the so I when I tell people that I know, like, people kinda know I sell online, locally. I'm, like, involved with my church and different things, and they're like, "Yeah, but what do you sell?" And, with arbitrage, it's whatever's selling. So, like, one week we might be going heavy Nike cleats, and then the next week, there for a little while, we were doing, baking flour, and we were just a baking flour operation, just, and that's what we did. And so, one of the things that was crazy, there was a Little Debbie cake that, a 2-pack was selling for, like, $27 or something. It was $3 at Walmart, and so,
Yeah,
people would pay that, and we got orders for those with expedited shipping. So the final price tag to the customer, I say this just to kind of show how crazy people are. Like, they're paying $60 or something crazy to have this specific flavor Little Debbie cake overnighted to them, and I'm happy as heck to do it. I'm overjoyed to send them out. So yeah, unlimited opportunity. There's so much room for new people, and that's part of the reason, like, putting out the brand, and like, everybody's like, why are you talking about this to so many followers on blah blah blah? And it's like, because if I can help somebody start a 7-figure business, I now have a friend that has some cash to throw around. So when I want to buy real estate, or I want to build an orphanage or do whatever in the future, I have somebody to say, hey, I helped you get this thing, started, and let's feed some orphans, or buy property, what, like, building the network just by sharing the opportunity. So
absolutely. That's what's also fascinating about this community of people that sell. They're very generous. They're generous with their knowledge. Um, there's not this real, like, cutthroat hiding everything. I mean, there's people like that for sure.
sure.
But I mean, people are very open because they know the opportunity. It's kind of the same in real estate. If you're getting into real estate, people are usually open with. I mean, can I buy 10 million houses? No, I can't. It's same thing with products. There's a zillion of them.
Yep.
And your story about Little Debbie's is interesting. And because I have this argument sometimes with family members and friends and stuff when they talk about arbitrage, they're like, aren't you kind of like price gouging? I'm like,
You're a
no.
scalper.
Yeah, you're a scout. What are you? This is unethical. I'm like, no, it's not. It's a service. Think about like regional products or products that are in stock, or you're talking about like even shoes. I mean, if I go to my local Dick's store, I can't find every model and everything that I need, and half the time they don't have my size.
Yep.
There could be selling it at retail price, which is super high. But imagine the convenience. Would I pay a $10-15 premium, or the convenience of being able to get the exact shoe, the exact size that I want, shipped to my house in a day or two? Of course I
All
would.
day long you will.
Of
100%.
course I would. And it's like that in every other industry. That's why I always push back on this. I'm like, have you ever bought a used car? I'm like, that's
Yeah.
arbitrage.
Look at
That-
Uber Eats.
Yeah,
Look
exactly.
at the money, like the meme going around where somebody's like, I bought something on it's DoorDash or Uber Eats or one of them, and it's like they bought a $9 sandwich, and it's like, some crazy,
Yeah.
and it's because it's the convenience of having it brought to your door, and with the sauce that you want, and blah blah blah, and you can get it in 17 minutes, and you don't have to
Yeah.
leave your house.
Yeah. That's a
Great.
convenience. Yeah. And it really does. I mean, I feel like it was, that was Amazon's goal. I mean, that was Bezos's goal. He wanted to be the marketplace for absolutely everything. He wanted to be
Yep.
able to get anything to everyone. And that's why he opened it up to third-party sellers. And that's why the model is the way that it is. It's because not only do you have all these buyers, but you have all these people trying to find all the products that everyone needs and get it for them. And yeah, if your grandmother loves those Little Debbie cakes and they're out of stock everywhere in the country except one little store, and you were able to find them,
Yep.
I'd pay that to give my grandmother the gift that she wanted, or the treat
100%.
that she wanted. And otherwise it's not available. So yeah, that's what I love. And the hunt and the find, and we're gonna dive into all that. But I have a passion for it. It's so fun, and you can sell anything. But I want to go back to your story because you're raised in the foster care system. You said, I'd love to just pick your brain on what that experience was like, how
Yes.
that molded you. Now you're got a family, almost 6 kids. Talk about that journey and how that kind of prepared you to be your own entrepreneur.
Yeah, sure. So, childhood was kind of all over the place. So I started kind of in the underbelly of the foster care system. Like, people don't realize how bad it is out there in some places, and so that was through I don't know, 7th grade or something like that. And then my grandmother actually she adopted me. She basically, said, "Hey, he's gonna come with me," and then she gave me an incredible rest of my childhood. And so, she was poor, but she paid for, marching band and all the stuff. So she like stepped in and really that was I was very fortunate for that. Um, I think that knowing what it feels like to not have food, or to like just seeing some of the really crappy ways to live life. I was thinking about money and business, and like that seemed like an obvious thing, like, oh yeah, I just gotta figure, I don't want to do that. I want to have a better life. And that was high school. I met my wife in 9th grade, and then we got married the day after high school graduation.
Wow.
And then we went to Bible college. It was a year long, Bible school thing. And then we came back and started having kids. And I was working at a gas station, going to college, and it kind of progressed from there. I remember I got super interested in how to day trade stocks, and then I realized, oh, I don't have the money to really make that happen. And I got super interested in some other side hustle, and then eventually got into flipping stuff, and that's where I landed, and I had some success with it. Um, I was also fortunate. I had gotten into sales, a sales position with State Farm, an insurance company, and um, that I was able to have a little bit of cash to like really get it. Once I knew that flipping stuff was going to work, we had money to, because I was working 70, 80 hours a week, like I was working like a crazy person. We had cash to where I was like, Haley, can I buy there were $700 for the pallets, which is a lot of money for us at the time. And we went through 19 of those pallets, and just like, working through it. And yeah, I think I'm very fortunate because I meet some people who had the perfect childhood and the perfect, life, so to speak, and everybody sees that, and they don't have a clue how the world works or how, how things, are in the world. And so I think, having the perspective I have, I think it's almost a benefit to me. But, I think I'm very lucky and very blessed, and I'm pretty open about the foster care stuff and some of the kind of the darker stuff during that time. But what I'm most excited about is building business, and figuring out how do you go from this level to this level to this level, and then help everybody around you to see the opportunity too. So
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a big part of your motivation is having the capital to help others. You
sure.
mentioned like a goal is to like build an orphanage, and I mean that's amazing. And it also sounds like you're well on your way, to those kind of goals. I mean, 1 million plus in revenue is not inconsequential on
Sure.
Amazon. That's significant. And the other thing is a lot of people don't realize is the arbitrage model can have significant ROIs attached to it.
Oh yeah.
Way that's the attraction to private label. Obviously, is you're not competing for the buy box. You can set your price, but there's all kinds of competition there. You can get you could have a substantial amount of money laid out in product sourcing and large orders, and then have something fail. Um, but the risk gets really mitigated in the online arbitrage space. I mean, because it's just flip, flip, flip. If you've got to lose money on something, it's okay. You got cash flow back, you can reinvest in the next thing that's going to have a 70% ROI or whatever.
Right.
So and you can start with small minimums. So there's a lot of opportunity, and you can pivot and go whichever way you need to go. Like you said, you shift. I mean, it was baseball season a while ago, so it was like heavy on the cleats and heavy on this. Now we're coming up to Q4, turns into like gifts and all, toys, presents. There's so much that you can do. What I want to now talk about just some of the setup, some of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis
Okay.
to be a reseller. So sourcing, that's where everything starts. You got to find a source, you got to go through the data, make sure that that's going to sell, that it's going to be profitable, how much competition there is, and then make the order. So how are you going about sourcing products?
Yeah. So the advice that I give is hunt what's in season, and uh, in Georgia, if you go out and you hunt the wrong thing, you go to jail. So that kind of I talk to people that are in California and other places, and they maybe don't understand. But you hunt what's in season. So you know. I think that arbitrage is such a cool thing. You think of Target as like a giant ship that can't turn very quickly. I mean, just Titanic times three, like a huge ship. And I'm just a arbitrage monkey. Like I'm just like I have this tiny little boat, and I can do anything I want to. And so all I have to do to change focus is just, oh, well, I'll just click off of this website and go onto this website instead. And so, the system is, as long as you're well funded, if you have capital or credit, the only thing you have to do is figure out where to buy today. Like, what do I need to buy today? And so, the measure of a good online arbitrage person is how good are your systems and processes to figure out who's selling, who has a sale going on today, who has, margin, manufactured margin that you can put in there. Warner Fields of Profit. I don't know if you've had him on. You should. He's a smart guy. But you manufacture the profit in, because Target's having a buy two get one free sale that day, or Dick's Sporting Goods that you mentioned, they're having a 40% off site wide sale. And so, to kind of get to the question, we have I have a Discord that I keep up with, like, sales, like what sales are happening today, and we call that channel OA Think Tank. And so, we start there, and then we look at, what's in what in that sale, what have we sold before, and then you go through and look and say, oh, that shoe sells like crazy on Amazon, let's get 6. We also have a virtual assistant, and then we have, there's a couple softwares that we have running in the background all the time. So, occasionally, you kind of sit down to process what's come out of those, and you look and it's like, holy crap, this is 300% ROI, and there's 2 sellers, and, that's it's like a obvious buy, and those are fun. You enjoy
Mhm.
that. I tell people, if you have a lot of capital, buy the good stuff and the great stuff. The good flips and the great flips. If you don't have a lot of capital or you don't have a lot of credit, don't buy the good ones. Skip those and watch for the great ones. Watch for the home runs. This is an obvious, win. And, like you said, there's some crazy ROI on some of the arbitrage stuff. I don't know anything about private label. I've never done anything with it, but 300% ROI is insane, and the ability to only buy 6 of them to, mitigate your risk, so you're not like worried about having some crazy amount of money. That's it's a huge opportunity. So that's kind of our model.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers are simple. I mean, if you've got $30 and there's something that you can buy for $10 that has, you've calculated a 300% ROI, you buy 3 of them with $30, and now you got $90 within
Yep.
probably like 2 weeks.
Yep.
If determining on when you're getting paid out by Amazon. But I mean, the opportunity, and this is what was fascinating to me, is my eyes were open to 300%. You can find thousands of things that have a 300% ROI. It's crazy. I mean, but then again, like you said, there is a ton of stuff where you can get a 50% ROI,
Yeah.
60%
That's where
ROI.
I
And
live. That
yeah,
30 to 50%, that's more where I live. But I mean, so endless, like exactly what you're saying.
yeah. And those kinds of products, you're talking about products that sell thousands and thousands of units a month on Amazon. So I mean, you can
Mhm.
make large buys and turn that inventory really quickly. And what the other thing that was fascinating about this model is it really comes down to, like, you have to set like daily spend goals, which sounds
Right.
counterintuitive, but it's like, if your average ROI is 50% and you want to make $500, a day in profit, you got to spend $1,000 a day.
Exactly.
That's what you got to do. You just put a spend goal, try to hit it, make sure you're getting, the majority of the products that you think are going to work. But that's really what the entire business comes down to. How much do you want to
Oh, yeah.
make? And then set your spend goal and then do it and don't
Yeah.
stop.
And something else, you private label, the people that they're listening, they're private label sellers, so that you don't get as much of. I get credit card points on every purchase, every freaking thing I buy. Everything I buy, I get credit card points on. And then on top of that, we get Rakuten, or pick your favorite cash back site. So those cleats that we're buying with heat seekers, like we were getting 12 per 10, I think it's 8% today, but like 8, 10, 12% of the basket, the purchase price. So if I buy 10 pairs of cleats, do some simple math, say they're $100 a pop, like that's $80 that I made just to show up to be a buyer. And that adds up. That's a
Yeah.
cool little, it's a cool little perk. So
Plus, you put $800 on your card, which is giving you points.
yep,
I mean, it's really not that hard to get to
yep.
the level where you're flying and staying in hotels everywhere you want for free.
The
Because
credit card points are amazing. And sorry to interrupt you. Shout out Ben Books the World. If you follow him on Instagram, that's what he does. So he and I are buddies. Like he spends more money than I do. Probably, like, he's killing it. But he stays right now. I think last night he posted he's at the nicest hotel in Lima, Peru, or something, and he was saying 100% credit card points. I didn't pay a dime for any of this, and they upgraded him, so he's getting like the best treatment. He's I'm like, that's amazing. So yeah, huge perk.
Okay, I want to dive, because I mean, I talked to that about everybody. I mean, you can do that as well in private label. A lot of times suppliers want wire transfers, not credit card, so that eliminates that. But you can put all your advertising budget on a card and all these other things you can generate a lot of points as well through private label. But the amount of stuff you're going to be buying constantly with online arbitrage, those points can rack up. But you mentioned Rakuten. Okay. So explain that process for anybody who doesn't understand how that's work. I mean, how are you getting money back for purchases, and what that process looks like so you find a product, let's say it's at Target or wherever, and Rakuten has a deal with them where they give cash back. What do you have to do in order to get that cash back?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I'm not sure how it works. It's just magic internet money. I don't know why it works. I assume that Rakuten has an affiliate marketing thing with them,
Yep.
and they say if they buy through my link, then Rakuten gets some cash, and then they share it with me. But I have this little, it's on my Chrome extension. I click on a website, Target, Walmart, Kohl's, Nike, whatever other website, and it pops up and it says 2% Rakuten today, or Target's hardly ever anything. Kohl's is good sometimes. Academy is good sometimes. Nike is home run. It's a 10% Rakuten day, and then you just click on that link, and then anything that you buy from that shopping trip, they send you an email afterwards and say you earned blah 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 cash back. And then 2 or 3 months later, they send you a check, or I get mine through PayPal. That you get your, or maybe I get PayPal from one of the other ones. Maybe I get an actual check from them, but you get money from them. I think last quarter ours was $2,700, and so I tell people don't buy something based off of that Rakuten money, because it's just like a bonus. Like, you get it if you get it, but if you don't, you don't want to have sold something at a loss hoping to get but I've never had them give me an issue, and so $2,700, hey, we're going out for steaks, because the Rakuten bonus came in, and so that's cool. There's some there are people doing a lot smarter things than I'm doing with that, but I mainly just use Rakuten unless they're not on there, and then I use another one. But I mean, there's a bunch of sites like that. Top Cashback, maybe Be Frugal. I might be making that up. But there's like it'll you can see a drop down, and it's like a bunch of different cashback sites. Rakuten is the one we all kind of love and talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, it's amazing. Anybody who's doing arbitrage right now, if you're not doing that, you're leaving money on the table. If you're not
Oh, yeah.
using a credit card, you're leaving money on the table. I mean, why not just take all those benefits? It's one extra click to get
Yep.
that. One click. I mean,
That's
it's
literally all it is. You literally don't do anything more than that. And if you go to like when you log into your Rakuten account, you can go in there and see sales. Like I mentioned earlier, like I'm looking for like what are the sales today. You can look, and Rakuten will tell you what sales are happening today. So they might say, go look at Ulta because Ulta is having a 10% off all in this category, and you can click through, and Ulta's 10% today. That makes a lot of sense to buy. If you can find something that's flipping for 30% or 20, even 25% ROI, you can probably get it back in 2 or 3 weeks. And then also on the purchase, you made 10% of what you bought it from. Like you're just kind of moving money around at that point. It makes a lot of sense. So
It's amazing. Okay, so that's sourcing. That's other ways to monetize this as well. How are you dealing with like the prep and injecting it into FBA? Does everything go to your house, and is your family labeling and shipping everything in?
yeah, so we had a prep center, and it was a great prep center, and we loved the arrangement that we had with them. And for whatever reason, we ended up that I guess they were downsizing or whatever. So when we moved away from the prep was about the time we bought this house, and we went from we were renting a huge house, and we bought a smaller house, which I love and it's great. But my workspace is significantly. I'm in 2 rooms now instead of like a
Mhm.
lot of space at the old house. But all that to say, we brought all prep home. We briefly tried another prep solution, and it wasn't the right fit at all. And so we cut that and brought everything back. And so right now we're doing all prep from home. It's a little tricky. We have 2 accounts, and so kind of managing that is kind of a deal and a half. But the idea before the end of the year, we're gonna have a prep center, and I told my wife the next one that we go with, I want to work with them for years, not months. Like changing all of that was such a nightmare. And so the next prep center that we sign up with, like we want to be sure we're going to work with them for years, and not even if they're more expensive, I don't even care. Like
Mhm.
I just want a good long-term solution for that. But for anyone who doesn't know, the prep center, the way it works is instead of ordering from Target to my house and then shipping that to FBA, I order from Target to Oregon, and then I get tax-free, so I don't have to pay taxes because it's going to a tax-free state. And then they prep it and send it to FBA, and then they send me a big fat bill. So that's what we want. But as of right now, yeah, it's me and my wife labeling
Yeah,
shoes. If I turn my computer on, you can see like
all the boxes.
a prep center in my basement. So
Yeah. Yeah, I could turn my camera around too. I'm not going to because it's embarrassing. I got stuff
same.
absolutely everywhere.
Yep.
I'm doing it myself. The reason that I'm going to scale to a prep center for this model, but the reason I'm doing it myself, and I think it's good for everyone to do it themselves for a little while at least, is to learn. I mean, there's other nuances, is like how do you prep certain products? Is it a multi-pack? Does it need to be polybagged? Things that you want to be aware of so you can prevent issues with a prep center in the future. You want to make sure that they're handling it in the right way.
Yep.
But I want to touch on the point you made about saving on sales tax, because this is huge.
Oh yeah.
Um, if you order online, if I go to Target right now and I have it shipped to my house, I'm paying whatever Missouri state sales tax is.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow don't even know the number, 7, 8, 9%, something like that.
Sure.
Okay. That's a chunk. That's a sizable amount. But if that goes to a prep center, when a tax-free state, I know Delaware is tax-free. You mentioned
Right.
Oregon. Is Oregon really, they don't have sales tax in Oregon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right.
Nice. I
Check
mean,
me
so
on
then,
that.
yeah. So I mean, then there's no sales tax added onto your order, which obviously makes your cost of goods cheaper. But a lot of times, prep centers, they don't charge that much. I mean, they're not, they're for them to label and pack a product, it could be a couple bucks,
Mm-hmm.
or less. That could be the equivalent. It could be a wash. That could have been the sales tax. And you've
Some of it's way in the green, like way or black or however you want to say that. Yeah, some
yeah,
of it's like, the higher price item, like some of the cleats I'm looking at, I'm like kicking myself. I'm like, because like some of these cleats I'm buying $130 sales tag. And so it's like if I had just gotten a prep center, like I would have not paid $11 in taxes on this one, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, so that's where I'm really looking to scale to, is to get it to where that makes sense. But then of course, then it becomes the dream business. That's the laptop on a beach
Right.
business. You can do it from anywhere. You've outsourced everything other than the sourcing, and you can outsource that. I mean, I had a guy on a couple weeks ago, has 70 sourcing VAs working for me. He's doing an enormous business. He meets with them 2 hours a week, and they ship to the prep center. I mean, he's just monitoring
I need
things.
to watch that. That's inspiring. I need to watch that
Yeah,
episode.
I'll get you the episode number here in a second, so you can go back and check that out. But the key for anybody is just buy something. Start right.
Yep.
Do it. Take $10, go to Walmart, get your scanning app out,
Yep,
and just flip something. That mean the light bulb's going to go off.
Yep.
You'd be like, if I just made $10 doing that, it took me, my Walmart's a minute from me, and I just flipped something. Okay, how many thousands of times can I do that?
Yeah, and then figure out how do I do it again and again and again. Yeah,
yep. Exactly. So what's I got another part we got to talk about. So there you got we talked about your sourcing, we talked about how you're prepping it and future plans for prep center. Repricing. This is a big part of the business. So for anybody who doesn't know repricing, if you're selling Nike shoes, there could be 30 other people selling the same shoe. They're on the same listing. And so Amazon awards the buy box usually to the best price. There's a whole lot of other factors in there. But usually it's for the lowest price. You'll get the buy box. And if you get the buy box, that's the one that if a customer comes, they're going to buy that particular one.
Right.
So repricing is a big part of this. And I talked to a lot of people about strategies on repricing. Obviously, you want to use software. There's lots of great tools out there. But when you launch something, what are kind of the main parameters you set for repricing? Are you trying to hit a certain ROI, or are you trying to move crap as fast as you can?
Yeah. So my philosophy is fast nickel over slow dime. The faster I don't have a ton of capital. Like I have enough to run a business, but I don't have enough to where I don't have to worry about it. And so for me, getting a fast sell is more important. There's benefits to both. I know a very successful seller that his entire model is he buys Nike and then waits 6 months and prices it high and lets all the fast nickel people go, and then slowly you start to see him flexing sales where he's making like crazy ROI on them. That's not my model at all, so I'm trying to move it quickly. I never price tank where I'm like, you see some of these guys dropping it by like a penny or something. That's not the right way to do it. I chase the buy box, and then I'm trying to stay within a competitive range of that. So I'm trying to move it as fast as possible. But while also, if I can help it, I don't want to be the lowest seller. So if I can see that, the buy box is $39.99, you might see me priced at $42.10, or hoping to get that, to earn that buy box privilege. And you'll see it too. Like, so, you'll wake up and you'll see 10 sales in a row, and it's like, oh, I got the buy box. What a great, what a great, great thing. And above the, above the low price. So one of the mistakes people, make coming in is I don't know if it's newer sellers or what, but you'll see people gap the price down $5-10. They're like, I'm still making money. It's like, yeah, but you're about to kill this whole listing, and you're not going to be able to replenish it. You're not going to be able to, because one dummy does that, and then there's 5 behind him that's gonna go a penny lower than that. And that's part of, you said you were talking about the risk. Like, the reason you don't buy, you feel comfortable buying 10,000 units of your private label product because you can defend it. Well, in arbitrage, you have zero rights to defend anything.
Yeah.
And so like if I'm 6 units in, I'm cool with that. But if I have 60 units and then someone comes in and starts acting crazy like that, that'll make you lose sleep, that because there's nothing you can do at that point. So.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, that is the risk. I mean, I typically, unless it's a unique scenario, I'll make a smaller buy on a new product I'm going for.
Sure.
If it works, and I keep replenishing. But that's the other thing that is nice about this model is I could order 5 units today from Target, 5 units
Right.
tomorrow from Target,
Yep.
5 minutes the next day. I mean, you could slow drip this. That way, you're never hit with, where you've got 100 units of something, and you're never. You can see it. You can see the buy.
Right.
You 35 people competing for the buy box, and you can see all of them repricing to the bottom, and you're like, this is going to take forever for me to get
Right.
back in here. So yeah, the risk mitigation is really nice on that. But I mean, that's the model: source, fulfill, or ship in, and have a decent repricing strategy.
Yep. Pretty much.
And then set daily spend limits or spend goals.
Yep.
And that's what. Yeah, I mean, it's
and then manage the cash flow. So something I think that the people who are having a lot of success right now that are creating content around online arbitrage, they have a ton of money, and and good for them. Like
yeah.
I hope to also have a ton of money.
Mhm.
But the empathy for somebody that has $1,000 and then a $2,000 credit card, like you have to be able to manage that cash flow, because when you're done, and if you blow all of that cash in 2 transactions, you're done until it gets to you, gets to Amazon, sells, processes through your Amazon paycheck, and then you get it back. And so like managing that cash flow is huge. Knowing when to pass up the good leads for the great leads based
Mm.
on the needs of your operation and how much capital you have to offer up. I think that's like the main thing. Like the number one thing I would say to be thinking about constantly is how many more dollars do I have. And then if you have a bunch of dollars, then you hire 70 VAs and you kill it with but
Yeah.
at whatever place you are on that spectrum, like I think that's where people mess up. I think so.
Yeah, cash flow management. It's
Yep.
key. That is 100% right on that. But I mean, like we said, you could start with any amount. Just flip it, get that next amount, use that, flip it. It'll double, 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 double. Pretty soon you got a
Yep.
business.
I
And
don't know
it's
if you've seen my the latest thing I'm doing on my Instagram. It's the $0 to $1,000 cash challenge. So I'm literally, for the month of August, I'm doing I started with zero and I'm doing flipping. I'm finding free crap on Facebook. Gary Vaynerchuk would love this. Gary, if you listen to this, I'll come work for you. But so I found a big Christmas. It's like a big Christmas yard ornament wooden thing. And then I found a free box of Legos that somebody was giving away. There's an app called Freebie Alerts. And so I subscribed to my area and it's free. And so whenever something free pops up, I'm going and getting it and then trying to sell it back. And I'm going to turn $0 into $1,000 in cash. And the whole idea is I want to take away the excuse, because I get DMs every day. How do I start? I don't have any money. I can't, I can't do this because XYZ. And it's like, anybody can do this. Like, I'm not a brilliant person. Like I'm decently okay at this, and like anybody could start and really have success with it. So
I love it. 0 to 1,000. Everyone should go check that out. Well, that brings up a good point. How can people find your content? How can they follow you? Let them know where to go.
yeah, so it's Cody Does Amazon on all platforms, and then I also have a second page. It's at Our Bolo Group, and that's the small reselling group that I run. And then I have a fledgling Twitter account that you see a lot of people who put out content. They're good on one and then they're bad at everything else. But the thing I'm most excited about is I'm starting to put out more long form content. For years, I've been putting out kind of like short form little 30-second, 60-second videos on Instagram. I want to do more long form stuff like this. So that's kind of my focus for the rest of the year is I'm trying to put out more in detail, like actually showing the seasonings and the herbs of what we're doing on YouTube. So that's Cody Does Amazon too.
I love it. Well, everyone that's listening and watching, make sure you go follow him. Cody Does Amazon. Great content. Obviously, a very inspirational story. And honestly, Cody, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your story and sharing your insights. It's been fun and fascinating. And next time I'm down in the Atlanta area, we're going to hang out.
Hey, come on down. Yeah, I'd love that. Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, thank you very, very much. We'll get you back on in the future to hear more of your progress, what's going on. We can talk about prep centers maybe in the future and what you're doing with those and how you're scaling. But again, thanks for doing this, and thanks everybody for tuning in today. If you like content like this, make sure you're subscribing to our podcast. You can also find all of these live streams from all of our past guests, great people like Cody. You can find those on Celozo's social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to those as well. Turn on notifications so you get notified when we go live. And additionally, if you are selling on Amazon right now, really any model, I mean, most likely you're not advertising much if you're doing arbitrage. There are instances where it does make sense. But if you're private label, wholesale, anything where you're running ads and advertising is a pain point for you, or it's taking up too much time, or you don't understand the right strategies to roll out, we can help you at Celozo. So you can go to celozo.com and you can schedule a demo. You'll get to talk to me. We'll talk about anything Amazon that you want. And I'll also show you the power of Celozo's platform to fully automate and optimize your advertising. So that's celozo.com. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Cody, thanks for coming on and sharing your story. And we'll see everybody